we banning out? I wonder. Heretics on the blue side, Karmine Corp on the red as we get into game 3 of the series. Once again, Caliste banned away. No surprises there. And there's the Maokai from Karmine Corp.
I will say we're probably going to end up seeing very similar bans in the game 3 as we've seen in the series. It's going to be the Maokai, Jace, Caliste, and now you're going to get to that little bit of creativity because those bans have been a bit volatile in the series. Now you can kind of target, you can really set up your first pick here as the blue side, so they ban the Yone, taking away that Yone with AP jungle or Yone with Sejuani pairings that are so easy to pick on red side, just 1-2 together. And they take away Sejuani for them even.
Yep, take away the Yone in the ban phase, Varus removed as well. Sejuani immediately picked up by Team Heretics. Karmine Corp likely to look towards the Ashe for Caliste, otherwise he's going very far into his pool. I guess Xayah and Caitlyn still possibilities if he is looking for other AD carries that are up and available. Flakked might even go towards the Seraphine or the Draven. A couple of things that we've seen from him over the last couple of weeks.
Yeah. Ashe is like the strongest laning AD carry left in the pool, especially with Varus and Caliste already being out. As I'm not going to discuss that hover yet, I do wonder what TH has to deal with this Ashe. Because the only real champion you get picked to match her laning phase is either a Caitlyn or a Jhin. Those are the two AD carries you can kind of contest in the laning phase, as we see a Lillia from Yike, which is one of his most famous picks. I do remember that pentakill in the finals on G2. I do remember him taking out many games, taking over many games on this pick across his career.
Yeah, 17 games across his career, 71% win rate on it. Very, very comfortable on the Lillia. Aatrox locked in, likely for Carlsen in the top lane.
Senna is very obscure.
But it is a Flakked pick.
It is a Flakked pick, but it's very obscure to pick it this early in the draft. Usually when you pick Senna, you also secure your pairing for the Senna. But now you come into this 4-5 and you really have to dig deep into the champion pool of Stend. Because I imagine Senna will be going over to Flakked and Stend will be the one to pick that kind of... Either you pick like a tank next to her or you pick like a Seraphine. There are options, but also KC can ban those away. As they pick up the Tristana, which is the only real good AD mid laner left, I think, with Yone and Jace being banned. Yeah,
the only other one we really see is Lucian, but Lucian isn't the best.
Yeah, that's like a new classic. We haven't really seen it work yet. Yeah. It's in the makings, but Tristana has been a classic. Also, I think Vladi is great at playing the side lane, pressuring those tier 2 towers in the mid to late game, and I think Tristana is a champion that does that so well. If she is left alone with a little tempo advantage on the side lane, she will melt that tower.
Yeah, especially if you take Demolish on her, you can absolutely work your way through those towers. Interestingly, obviously the Senna, something that Flakked last played when he was on G2 Esports in that AD carry role, and he played it with Targamas back in 2022. Won every game. I think he played on it in G2, 4 out of 4. So very good stuff from him all round there. We'll see if Targamas obviously understands the matchup, has played against it and with it a lot of times in the past. Tway and Pike removed so far. There's the Yasuo ban, which is something that Flakked could play if Stend was playing the Senna instead. And final ban from Heretics. We'll see if they decide to get rid of one of those aggressive supports. Leona's still a possibility, and there it goes.
This will almost certainly be a Seraphine for the side of Heretics. When you ban this Pike and you ban this Leona, you really angle for a ranged support matchup. And the only really one that you play in modern day League of Legends with Senna is that Seraphine. So this is very telegraphed, and KC can kind of choose how they want to approach this.
Well, we'll see where they decide to go. For the moment, still thinking about their pick. It is going to be Renekton into that Aatrox top. Heretics here, I mean, you know your matchup, right? You know you're playing into the Tristana mid, so we'll see where Kamiloo decides to go in that mid lane. Kind of really lacking some AP damage overall on the team so far. As you say, the Seraphine likely to come through. Gives you a bit of that magic damage overall. So I wonder where Kamiloo is.
That's unconventional.
Swain Senna.
Hover, but it does work pretty well with the Senna landing that root on the Senna, followed up by the Swain pullback. I think Stend will be playing the Senna. Okay, let's not talk too much about that because we still have a mid laner to pick if the Swain doesn't go into the mid lane, which is very well could. It's a decent matchup into the Tristana. It becomes pretty hard to sort of jump onto the Swain once he has that demonic ascent that is his ultimate ability. but it will just be the Sylas pickup that I imagine, probably, most likely, most definitely will go into the mid lane.
Yeah, I think Sylas mid, Swain, Senna bot makes the most sense. Aatrox going towards top side. Looks like it's going to be a Lulu for Targamas. Not too much like direct CC kill threat from a Swain and Senna. As they get a couple of items, or even one item under their belt, they can do enough damage to burst out that Lulu, but it's more sustained DPS, drain tanking, rather than pure burst damage.
I will say, looking at the comp of KC, when I think about how it will play out in the mid to late game, I see it becomes very hard for them to face check vision that TH has set up.
Yeah.
Can you tell me anyone in that KC team comp is gonna walk in and eat the Sejuani ult coming their way?
No, but you, yes, I 100% agree with you. You do have a few tools as Carmine Corp. You have Swirl Siege, you've got Hawk Shots, you have Renekton. Those are your 3 tools, right, to check. Glitter Lance as well can check, but you're very close when you're trying to do that on the Lulu. I 100% agree with you. It's going to be hard for them to face check, whereas on the other side, Heretics have the bruiser of bruiser comps. Like, this is 5 bruisers if I've ever seen it.
It's really giving like that old 2019 kind of style where you pick like Sylas and Aatrox and you flex it until the last pick.
Yep.
Kind of top side where he's going to fight. And I imagine the Swain, which is actually being played by the Flakked, and Stend is playing the Senna. So that's not really what we expected, but it's a great adaptation because now Flakked is going to be very self-sufficient in that bot lane, and Stend is going to be unlocked on the map to work together with his Sejuani. And I really think that's where TH has been best in this series, when Stend and Sheo works in perfect tandem and are proactive on the map.
First Swain we've seen from Flakked in his career, as far as I can see. Stend has 7 games on the Senna, 5 and 2. So he's comfortable enough on it. I think the supports, a lot of supports will have practiced that sort of AD carry support whenever they can. Let's see as we get into game 3 of this series, something I didn't expect to say. Targamas running Ignite on the Lulu here, being a little bit more aggressive in that lane. And I saw Vladi with Demolished Secondary, so he's going to be trying to push Kamiloo out, and you expect him to in a ranged into melee matchup. Vladi having an absolute stormer of a series, a stormer of game 2 as well.
On that Victor, just dodging every rupture at the edge of it. So well played with that fancy feat. But I will say that this Ashe Lulu lane will be very oppressive in the early game. Because I don't really see how Swain and Senna can ever take an extended trade against this Ashe and Lulu, so they can kind of just throw their faces at them and try to make any fight work. So what Heretics wants to do, they want to take short trades and then sustain up with that Senna Q. That's what you're trying to do, but I think that will be difficult.
Goal picked up for the Carmine Corp bot lane, as they both get 10 from clearing out that ward. A little bit of gold as well over to Yike. Assume he pinged the ward before it was taken by Caliste and Targamas. Kamiloo having to go the long way around here, but he's going to struggle a little bit in this lane. So early doors, I think the prior lanes do go over to Carmine Corp. Vladi should be able to get the push in mid. As you say, Caliste and Targamas should be able to get the push in bot. Top lane, probably a little bit more even between the Renekton and the Aatrox. You can see the damage already from Targamas and Caliste. Heal up with the Piercing Darkness, but Targamas now gains control of that bush, and there's no wards left for Flakked and Stend. Flakked will be stacking up that passive throughout the course of the game. Gives you a lot of bonus health. For each stack you get 15 bonus health. And you also get a little bit of healing from them as well. So whenever anyone's CC'd or whenever he's hitting abilities on people, loves to be able to get all of those stacks as quickly as possible.
Yeah, I mean, the nice thing about Swain is it's very easy to track when he works and when it doesn't. If that E connects, he has a good trade. If it misses, he's very, very weak without it. So that is the only thing you have to pay attention to as the KC bot lane. And if you manage to dodge that ability, you have a big, big, big window where you can then punish him.
Interesting path here from Sheo. He went blue into Wolves into Razorbeak's red. So they did know there was a ward on his Razorbeaks. I wonder if they were concerned about Yike starting bottom side and then going for an immediate invade, because obviously Lillia is clear very quick. Sejuani's first clear is okay because of the permafrost, but Lillia, as she gets through the game, will just absolutely melt through those camps. Seems like Sheo decides to abandon his Gromp for the time being. Vladi with a little pogo. Just getting as much damage onto Kamiloo as possible.
Rocket hop.
Yeah. I haven't talked much about the top lane. How do you see this matchup going early doors?
So Canna's taking the grasp to kind of nullify this lane matchup, because early game this is a pretty tough matchup for the Aatrox. Aatrox really wants high CDR items early and levels in his queue, because then suddenly, whenever there's an all-in, he can get 2 queue rotations off. Meanwhile, early game, Renekton will just be able to stat check the Aatrox. So this is a difficult matchup for Aatrox to play early, and it is expected for the Renekton to come a little bit ahead. Now, once Aatrox gets level 7...
Oh, Permafrost's gonna catch him! Scotland Duck catches! Vladi in mid-air. And Vladi caught out for first blood. Heretics on the board.
And I was talking about top lane, but mid lane is where the action is. Top lane does not matter at all.
I mean, I was surprised because I just bumpers out the jump, but the Abscondive Duck from Sylas catching him out of thin air. It means that it's a slightly easier match. I could double root as well with the never move there from Flakked. Yike stepping in towards Sheo here. TP coming out from Kamiloo. Sheo will get the permafrost proc off.
Big damage.
Able to walk away. Yeah, big damage. Has the aftershock as well. Permafrost early game does give you quite a lot of damage just flat on it, which is why Sejuani can get through that first clear pretty quickly. Canna here needs to be careful because there is a boar in the area.
There is a boar. Crucially in this mid lane matchup, the way that the Sylas E works is that it first stuns you and then has a little displacement effect. Because usually what you see with Tristana is that they try to use the rocket jump to buffer out of CC, but it doesn't work against Sylas because of that tiny little displacement effect.
Yeah.
So this is why this matchup is picked probably, and probably like one of the few avenues where Kamiloo can find advantages against Vladi.
It's that little pullback on it, as well as you say. Canna does have the push in the top lane. He's going to get the first plate of the game, I believe, for himself. As he has been able to get that push earlier, as you were saying, a little bit hard for the Aatrox. Vision of Empire there from Flakked. I don't think he got the cannon, but there is a stack for Stend that he'll try and pick up. Only at 12 so far. Hard for him to get a lot in this lane, just because you're playing into double range. What you really like as a Senna is a melee target, like a Braum or a Leona. It's like, okay, like Leona can jump on you, but if you can get the advantage in the lane, you're just constantly stacking up on that melee who really can't respond.
Yeah, I mean, you really want to be able to play aggressive in laning phase as Senna, because that's how her kit is balanced, how it's structured. Sure, you get stacks from minions dying, sure you get it from jungle camps if you're close, but it really is that auto-Q combo that you see with the grasp that just siphons the life out of them and gives you that beautiful, beautiful, beautiful passive stack.
Another good Vision of Empire there onto Targamas, but as you can see, laning-wise, advantages across the board for Karmine Corp. 10 CS lead in the top lane, about the same in mid, although the gold lead is over to Kamiloo, and about a 14 CS lead for Caliste and Targamas down towards bot. So, as we expected, Karmine Corp with the early pushing lanes can use that to take this dragon. It looks like Sheo is pathing towards the grub, should be able to get at least one. I wonder if he's going to be able to get more with Canna already TPing up to top.
Yeah, and we'll say this is a great Renekton game for Canna, because when I look at the composition of TH, I don't really see anyone can burst him down with consistent damage in teamfights.
Yeah.
What Renekton hates is when he rolls up to a teamfight, there's an AD carry just hitting him down, and suddenly your big Dominus ability doesn't really do much because they're not in melee range. But here there's the Sylas, which is a melee burst mage, or burst assassin, whatever you want to call him, and the Aatrox and the Swain. And crucially, none of these champions can really beat him with consistent damage. So you get multiple Cold Mix off with your Dominus active, multiple big heals, and he becomes very, very hard to kill.
Kamiloo jumped on by Vladi, trading in, jumps forward again. Kamiloo has to flash away from the swirl. See, Vladi almost gets him with the buster shot, but dies to the tower shot. Kamiloo with his second of the game. Vladi trying to carry, just a little over-eager.
And really cute rocket jump to buffer out his own buster shot CC. He manages to almost get the kill on Kamiloo, but goes a little bit too deep, a little bit too overzealous, and he ends up falling. 0-2, not the start you want, but if you're Kamiloo, you're having a great time smiling at the opposition.
Have another look at how Kamiloo played this. He puts the control ward in, immediately realizes, oh, there are reinforcements here. Vladi jumps forward, and at this point, oh, just not enough. He almost had him. Thought the buster shot would be enough. The piercing dart came out well afterwards, so Kamiloo just made run the numbers.
You're the GOAT.
Insane, you're the GOAT. I mean, he's 2-0. that early laning phase we talked about where Vladi, you know, did have the advantage is kind of mitigated by the fact that Kamiloo picked up 2 kills.
You really want your Tristana to get a lead in this matchup. Yeah. This is a Sylas. This is against an AD carry champion in the mid lane, so you will get pushed in the early game. And seeing how Kamiloo is starting game 2-0, this is really an avenue where Casey should have been stronger. Same in the top side. This Renekton is stronger than Aatrox, but the lead is not really there. Sure, he got a few plates or 2, and it's a 300 gold lead, but I don't think that's enough to really snowball this matchup. Because Renekton, as we know, will struggle in teamfights. Sure, this game is a good Renekton game, but if Kamiloo is this strong and Flakked keeps scaling very well, he will struggle.
I'm going to look for Carlsen.
Yeah, Carlsen.
Arrow wide. Kamiloo and Stend just walk away from it. World Ender popped by Carlsen as he tries to walk away from Canna, who slices through him, has already used. There's the dice. Infernal chains down. Canna dodges to the side, but Carlsen healing up enough through those Darking Blades to keep himself alive. Popping the potions as well. Refillable. Has a couple of biscuits in his inventory, so not too worried now.
Yeah, the biscuit healing was so large there. I think usually this would be a pretty sketchy situation for the Aatrox, but he manages to sustain through it with that empowered regen as he doesn't connect onto Vladi, but it still holds his ground.
Caught in the Curse of the Black Mist, then uses the rocket jump away. Vladi's struggling to get back towards that lane. You can see how much Targamas is having to shepherd him. Flakked going into that Demonic Ascension. Demon Flare #1. Can use more than one these days if you get the damage down, but in the end he won't have anyone in that ring of death, and so the ultimate expires.
As the game slows down.
It hasn't been that rapid, you know?
Yeah.
It's been a... But again...
well-paced.
It has. Again, Heretics out to a something to 0 lead.
Yeah, it's been the consistent factor of the series that Heretics is actually getting great early game leads against KC. I will say, I think most of these leads are on the back of KC being a bit too over-aggressive in the early game. I don't think really TH has pushed KC hard, but I think they punished their mistakes really, really, really well, and that's all that matters in the end.
That's often what you need to do. Stend here will heal, not going to heal up Kamiloo. I thought there was a piercing dart coming out, but Kamiloo's backing, so Stend realizes his time is better utilized in other places. 30 seconds on the grub spawn. Canna should get pulled back here. Yeah, he's got the Demolish block, and there we go. Gets the extra plate. Carlsen can't clear out the way before Canna just walks in and takes a plate away. Vladi. Skond abduct again. Vladi will jump away. Yeah, it's a great trade, especially with the grubs up in 8 seconds time.
And I wonder if Casey can actually get this dragon, because now the spawn timers are a bit desynced, which means that Heretics will be able to do this with the grubs. And if they want to, they can actually still walk down to that dragon and contest Casey should they want to do that.
Totally agree. 30 seconds, as you say, before that Chemtech drink. It's going to be 6 grubs over to Heretics. Stend working his way down towards that bottom side of the map. Yike spotted on control ward vision, and something Heretics have done really well is have so much vision on the map.
Look at where all his teammates are. He can't hold his area. All his teammates are in his base, so he has to just retreat. The arrow misses, and now Heretics is just going to walk in here and take control and maybe look for this dragon. Carlsen is rotating up, and Casey are just nowhere to be found.
And like one of your key engage tools is gone. Like now you're looking at how do you engage this fight. Caliste slowly runs at them. Vladi could look for an insect buster shot rocket jump combination. His flash is about to come on cooldown. Maybe Yike flashes blooming bursts and gets the looting lullaby down. But Yike doesn't have the Seeker's arm guard. Here's the TP coming in. As Heretics are on their first dragon of the game. Canna's going to join the fray, has that Dominus, Glacial Prison hitting onto him. Abscond, abduct, Dominus popped. Looting Lullaby's going to put 3 people to sleep, but Flakked is in the way. And Karmine Corp just can't get on the backline. Canna dead. It's Kamiloo who takes them. Exhaust on Caliste. It's a double for the Sylas. Karmine Corp are forced out of a fight they started, and Heretics are 4-0 up.
Heretics, Heretics, Heretics. What did you eat this morning? What is in your oatmeal? What did you put down there? Because you are playing so damn well. They're holding the lines. Great turn by Sheo, and as this fight rolls out, kind of tries to TP in, but I want you to keep your eyes on Flakked. Look at the Demonic Ascension coming through here, and look how big he is. No one can deal with him. Carlsen flashes in, but that Demon Flare is just too powerful. And now the double root as well. Doesn't even matter. Wow, they're all just getting shredded.
Yeah, it just gives everyone that moment to reset and then go back into the play, right? We talked about the bruiseriness of this composition. When you have bruisers like that, the ability to let someone come out, then get their cooldowns back up, go back into the fight is so powerful. Sheo here still leaving one grub up, electing instead to go and clear out his camps. I'm a little surprised by that, I will say. If he takes that grub, they get the feats of war, right? Because feats of strength, because they've already got the 3 kills. And then if they take the grub, they have 3 objectives in total.
It's true. Do you actually know what the win rate in LCK is for 6 grubs?
I'm gonna say it's really low.
20%.
Yeah.
Do you know what the win rate for 5 grubs is?
60%.
80%.
Why?
Because that's what Sheo does this. He knows the stats.
We're stats-based gamers, guys.
I mean, the way I see it is that if you actually get 6 grubs, that means you probably traded it for other objectives on the map.
Exactly, but they haven't.
Yeah, but if you get 5 grubs, it probably means you get both of them.
Oh, Vladi burst out. Doesn't have the rocket jump. Kamiloo's just gonna bust a shot his back.
And coming into this day, I did say I think the biggest mismatch was in the mid lane. And I think game 1 and game 2, Vladi had a great showing. But in this game 3, it's all Kamiloo, baby. He's just having a great showing on the Sylas, showing great comfort and great mechanical execution.
And importantly for the Trist, it is hard when you start to fall behind against something like a Sylas, because he has good gap closers, he has sustain as well, and he's now got 5 kills. When he steals away your ultimate, is doing a hell of a lot more damage than you're doing with his ultimate, with your own ultimate, right? So like, it's very well played from Kamiloo. Vladi is struggling, and when Carmine Corp has struggled today, it has been Vladi who has come to the fore and carried them. The question is, who else on Carmine Corp can now step up and fulfill that role in the early to mid game?
It really is eyes on Yike with his Lillia pick, he has to make work, but I really struggle to see that, knowing that they have a Lulu in the bot lane and a Lillia together. I don't see great synergy between those 2 champions, but it's gonna have to come from either a great flash engage with that sleeping lullaby or a great arrow from Caliste. My eyes are on Caliste because I think he needs to try to make work of this Ashe pick that they secured so early for him in the draft.
We haven't seen that arrow pay any dividends as of yet. See Kamiloo pathing up towards that top lane. He's going to be the one to answer the pressure there. Rift held up in 45 seconds time. Next Drake still 2 minutes away. Heretics have made their intentions very, very clear. There is some vision here for Carmine Corp. A couple of wards superficially in the Heretics jungle will help them spot out any early advantage. Sheo instead coming through the lane, avoiding that ward of vision.
Look at Yike, he's sitting in the top lane bush like this. I'm not sure what he's looking to do. I think he's looking for some kind of avenue for them to get 1 lane of prio. Yeah. But right now it is so difficult seeing his Renekton is in base, just walking out from the base. Now they're looking to make a pick on Kamiloo.
Stend and Sheo spotted out with the hawk shot. Kamiloo, I mean, if you get that bounty onto Canna, that's a big, big deal. 452 gold on his head right now, but there's no Boba Fett for Carmine Corp, no bounty hunter here to claim that prize. Kamiloo's going to clear out the way. Rift held, I think, it's Scuttle Crab at the moment for Sheo. Now he'll, oh, it is Rift held that he's doing outside of the pit, and the rest of Heretics collapse towards him. This will help them crack through that mid-tier 1. Often what we see it used for is to open up the map a little bit more, and it's Heretics again with a 2,500 gold lead.
Once again, instead of opting in for a cross map, trying to get something on the other side of the map, KC just joined Heretics in their area of the map. Here we see Canna trying to go for something, but you can't. Kamiloo is too strong right now. Takes your own dominus and says, I am you, but better.
Kamiloo is incredibly strong, and then he messes up the jump across the wall.
Of course, can't have it all, can you?
Even pros make mistakes, guys. They're humans too. Canna comes across, but with the Rift Elder powered recall, Kamiloo should be able to back before he even gets in the area. Stend at 60 stacks. I know people like to track that. You can see it on the player portraits here. 60 for Stend, 250 for Flakked. Kamiloo jumping towards Canna. There's the Glacial Prison as well, and Canna is dead before he can pop the Dominus. Sheo takes that kill, the first player on Heretics, apart from Kamiloo, to have picked up a kill this game.
And Heretics are so smart. They realize that KC probably thinks they will go for the dragon and then trade that to make a pick onto Kamiloo. So they are there to match it. They're there to make sure he's fine, to make sure he can keep snowballing his lead. And now when they block the play, now they go and take the dragon. It's just so well paced by
Arrow onto
connects.
Flakked. Carlsen's coming in from the side here as well. A 4v4 might be Karmine Corp's best possibility to get back into the game. The Swellsuit dodged by Carlsen, but there was no lilting lullaby to follow it up. Camilo's now coming across from that top side. Rifthold available to that Team Heretics that they want to put it down to try and crack this tier 1. For now, it looks like they're going to hold on to it and just try and use their bodies instead. There's the Rifthold behind them. The arrow goes in. Look at the damn damage from that. It chunks out Vladi. Rifthold charges forward. Heretics will take their second tower of the game. The Rifthold will go down, but there's Drake as well. For Team Heretics, they want to turn their eyes towards that prize.
Kamiloo's got a crossbow hidden somewhere under those cloaks. Look at how much damage that arrow did. The velocity and speed and power of that was just insane. All that AP really amping up those arrows. And I really think back of that 2020 series when it was Caps against Gen G, where every time he took that arrow, someone was getting one shot. And I feel like Kamiloo is almost embracing that by himself this game.
I had that flashback as well. I was casting that series, and I remember just seeing Caps absolutely demolish someone under the mid-tier 1, mid-tier 2 in the bottom
mid-tier 2, mid-tier 2.
It's crazy plays from Caps and Kamiloo, trying to sort of embody that spirit in this game at least. A 3,500 gold lead for Heretics. And we're talking a lot about Kamiloo because he has 5 kills, but it has been the entire team from Heretics that have played well in this series.
I will say, if history has taught us anything, this is where Heretics lets a little bit to lose of that gold lead, both in Game 1 and Game 2. This was around that time where KC started crawling back a little bit.
It's throwable as well.
Yeah, it's throwable. In Game 1, it didn't really translate too much. They still managed to lose that game. But in Game 2, I think just incredible mid to late game play by KC crawled them back into a game that looked very difficult. And I will say a 3k gold lead is not insurmountable.
100% agree with you there. I do think Karmine Corp had more tools at their disposal in Game 2 than they have here. You talk about face checking in the draft. Very much agree with you. Like, who is face checking here? The engage tools are really the arrow or a swirl seed or a flash blooming burst from the Lillia to get that loading lullaby down. The Aatrox is going to spawn on the bottom side. Heretics currently investing most of their players towards top. Sheo looking for Vladi. Camiloo's here as well. Glacial Prison! They're killing you in the base! No place is safe for Vladi. 0-4-0. And Heretics, they're making fools of KC.
Just play safe.
Just play safe, man. Just play base.
Wow, nowhere is safe against Kamiloo and Sheo just having a tear this series. As maybe they will look on Kamiloo. Arrow does connect.
But Kamiloo has Buster Shot here, which means even if Canna does close the gap, Kamiloo just just ults him away. It's a nice thought. But Canna couldn't get in range to clear the wave, so Kamiloo didn't tank, and then there's no CC follow-up with the Ruthless Predator. Kamiloo able to take the tower and walk away. The gold lead extends to 4.5k for Heretics. Next Drake in 3 minutes would be Heretics' third of the game. Aatrox is up on that bot side of the map as well. Where are we in terms of items? Well, Flakked is 2 stacks away from a fully stacked Rod of Ages. Vladi and Caliste both have those Yuntals and the BF swords. I like the executioners as well from Canna.
I will say now KC, Heretics, they're really overcommitting into this bot side here too. Look at Canna, he's just pushing out top freely and no one is really stopping him. So either you dive this or you really gotta make something work here because you're not really getting much out of this
We saw the same thing happen when Heretics were playing for the top tier 2 as well in the tier 1 where Canna took the bot tier 1 in response. So Carmine Corp are doing a good job of getting something on the other side of the map. The problem is they are bleeding out a little bit where the overinvestment happens, right? They lose the mid tier 2, they've lost the top tier 2. It's 5 towers to 2, it's 7-0 again for Team Heretics. There is an Aatrox for Heretics as well if they want to start it. Obviously does have that resistant shred when you do it yourselves, which maybe you want to be a little apprehensive around it.
Also, when you look at the comp of Heretics, nothing really screams we do objectives fast.
Yeah.
There's a Sylas that barely does damage objectives, a Swain that's also very cooldown based, and what are you gonna do? Like, I guess Senna would hit it a little bit, but they really don't have good damage on objectives.
I agree.
And this is something that is actually very real, because that means you can't rush Barons, you can't rush Dragons, you can't rush Aatrox. So you really have to make sure you play the vision game well and look for picks, because that's what leads into objectives, not good tempo timers.
I 100% agree with you there, and that's why finding picks on things like Vladi is so important. Carlsen, the one who's picked out by Canna and Yike here. Losing Lullaby, Dawning Shadow coming out. There's the arrow as well, going wide. Sheo in with the Glacial Prism. Carlsen, he's just too damn tanky. Canna jumps forward. Carlsen looking for the healing there from the Thunder Sky, but he can't quite get the auto sack down in time. Now in the middle of Canna and Yike. Sheo sits between them, exhaust though, onto Canna. And the demons have ascended, and they're in Carmine Corp's minds. It's Flakked who gets the kill, Sheo gets the other. Meanwhile, Carmine Corp are trying to deal with a 3v2 on bot side.
And Flakked saves the play there. Great rotation by him, making use of that mid lane prior to salvage what looked to be a really poor 2v2 by the side of Heretics. Great pick here by KC. If they can make this really fast and get out, that would be the optimal, but the Senna ult buys that extra time for Carlsen to run away. Huracan has to commit his flash, or he doesn't actually have to, he goes and tries to kill him. But now, while it looks like Yike is staying up with that Conqueror, Flakked arrives, and with that demonic ascent, just shadow flames him into the next century.
And Yike trying to get in there with the flash. Blooming bursts at the blooming blows at the end, couldn't do it. TP coming out from Vladi. As
look at the speed of this though.
It's really slow. 100% agree.
This will be the slowest Aatrox you ever see, and it's even warded by KC. This has the potential to be a really scary play for the side of Heretics.
Carlsen's looking for that flank. Kamiloo has the hijack. Flash away from Targamas from that curse of the Black Isles. The thing is,
Curse of the South KC.
Can Carmine Corp get close enough? They go for Carlsen. The Starak shield won't be enough to save him, and Vladi takes the kill. And now the Aatrox sits at 5,000. Carmine Corp can turn their eyes towards it. They will take away the patience. Sheo looks for the seal. Glacial Prison only gets the slow. Kamiloo looks to dive in here as well as Yike takes the route towards the backline. It's Sheo who secures it. It's the Paxels though, and Canna's flashing forward. He's looking for more. Double flash away, double sweep. Flakked, the first target alongside Stend. Sheo falls towards the top side. Carmine Corp are going to find an ace around the Aatrox.
And I said this before, you can't just start objectives with your team composition. You gotta take that vision, you gotta have that aggression, and you need to have passion, because right now this game is slipping out of your ways.
Have another look at it. Carlsen's clearing this vision. Canna immediately dives in.
It's way too deep by Carlsen to go for this ward when his team is doing that Aatrox. His team doesn't do enough damage so they can burst it even if he dies. And now suddenly Kamiloo is half HP, the Glacial Prison misses, and now, even though that it gets the Aatrox, that's a miracle, because if it did not, this play is horrible for Heretics.
Yeah, Kamiloo goes back in, and Canna, alongside Vladi, just shred through him. A great lilting lullaby, finding Stend and Sheo, meaning they can't escape. And Carmine Corp, Boomba Stomp through the place. You can hear their fans come to life, as well as they manage to win the fight. They get the gold lead for ever such shorter time, about a second there, as we saw them also taking the dragon in the picture-in-picture. So 2 Drakes apiece, gold basically even between the two teams now. And Infinity Edge, Executioners, and Yuntal complete for Vladi.
Oh, well, it does look to be a dire repeat of last game. This was really, really tragic for Heretics. They do still have 2 dragons. They do still have a really strong Sylas, and they do still have a good front to back, or like a strong bruiser kind of team comp that KC can't run through that easily.
Carmine Corp don't have many flashes available either, as Heretics try and force them out of this top side jungle. But Vladi must have got so much gold off that fight. Now at 3 items, actually almost, well, he is ahead in terms of itemization over Kamiloo. Kamiloo does still have that gold lead. Top side as well, Canna in a very strong position. 2 items complete on Yike with a Riftmaker Leandri's combination. Importantly, for Heretics, Flakked has the Rylai's, which makes it so much harder to escape the clutches of the Demonic Ascension. They'll use that vision control that we've seen them use so much throughout this series. Never move, never move. Sheo goes in. Glacial Prison hits onto Yike, but immediately he's Mikhail's out. Canna on the front line. Arrow only hits onto Carlsen. Counter arrow hits on towards the back line as Targamas is the one who's caught. The 4-man sleeper. Kamiloo has found the back line. It's only Targamas and he can't survive. Now it's a 4v3 as Heretics try to get the Demon Flare down, but Vladi's on the chase. Infernal Chase will pull it back. Carlsen dives back in. Canna doing the damage. Carlsen almost healed up. Yike there in the middle of it. Wasn't Canna, it's Yike, it's the Lillia who survives. Caliste finds a double. Stend the last man standing for Heretics.
And it keeps happening, Medic. They keep slipping out of their fingers. Heretics looked like they had a good fight. It looked like it was going their way. It looked like they were gonna get a quick pick onto KC, but they didn't have just that last bit of damage. And in the end, Yike, here you see the attempt onto Yike. He buffers the W and the Mechanicus comes through. Canna tries to get out of this, but as we see here, the turn by Yike and that sleeping lullaby is just so strong. And this Ashe, she's just so powerful. You can't deal with all the attacks with steroids, and all this spacing by Caliste is just so powerful.
You see Flakked trying to reset the fight a little bit here. Vladi overstepping just a tad as Carlsen goes back in, but Stend and Sheo are miles away. Yeah, if Stend and Sheo are close enough to auto-attack Caliste there, maybe the fight turns out differently. Yike and Caliste spacing perfectly to get the damage down, and now 1,000 gold lead for Karmine Corp. They have a lot of healing reduction coming out as well. The Oblivion Orb for Yike. He also has the Seekers. Flashes coming back up across the board for both teams. Carlsen doesn't have one, Yike doesn't have one, everyone else will have theirs in the next minute or so.
I mean, the problem is that your damage is kind of falling off at this stage as Heretics. Look at your Swain. He has a Roa and a Rylai's and a Seekers and a Tabai. That doesn't really speak damage. I mean, you have the Senna, which is like your only saving race in this comp, but also the Sylas, the only thing you can do is burst someone. It doesn't have that consistent damage like Casey has. If you walk too deep into the meat shredder that is Vladi and Caliste in these fights, you will die in seconds. I don't know if I can say the same thing for Casey walking into Heretics.
You can see Heretics realizing as well, hey, we can't start up the Baron. Vladi, gets the control ward in. Blast cone forwards there, so does still have the rocket jump if he needs to get out. Karmine Corp are on the back foot, but they also don't have to be too careful, right? Because you've got the hawk shot, or they don't have to be too aggressive. They've got the hawk shot, they've got the volley, they can check things out. If Heretics start the Baron, it takes an absolute eon. It takes years for them to do that thing. So it's like, okay, we'll just stay back. Eventually, one of our tools to check that will come up. We've got far side automations, we've got hawk shots. We can wait. And then if you're doing it, it's probably only at 8,000 by the time we check. Yeah,
and people wonder why the meta is the meta. Yeah. This is why the meta is the meta, because you really want that consistent damage from one source in your team. When you draft mages in the bot lane, these objectives take so much time.
Yeah.
And it's just a fake threat by Heretics. Sure, they're setting up all the great vision in the top side, but as long as Casey knows that that's not a real threat.
Arrow. Glacial Prison, just short of Canna there. Flakked getting burst out, has to flash away. Kamiloo trying to get on the backline, but he is gone. The stopwatch from Flakked immediately met with the oncoming storm of Karmine Corp. They find three. Sheo and Stend running to the corners of the rift, and Karmine Corp with double AD carries will open up the base.
Heartbreaker and chest acher, what a sad ending. I'm not sure if they can end the game here, but time and time again the game slips out of Heretics' fingers.
I mean, maybe time and time.
Maybe they have. Sheo is very big and they do have Stend, but there's 5 people to 2 and they're marching down with these waves.
Yeah, Yike's going to tank up the tower for now. Look at the damage coming out from Vladi as well with that Demolish Bot. Canna flashing forward. They get the knock up at the Sheo through the wild growth. Stend slowed by the Swirl Seed. Karmine Corp just turn the game on their head. Doubt them as much as you damn want. They still come out victorious.
Wow. What a series. I did not expect this series to be this close, and I want to commend a Requiem for Heretics. I think they did so well, and they tripped at the finish line time and time again. But we see what makes this team so exciting. They really show so much sign of life. They show so much potential, and I'm very excited to see them improve and come in to the future of the Split.
Yeah, standout series for Sheo and Stend as well, just to give them their own little commendations. Great performance all round. On the side of Karmine Corp, Vladi had an absolute blinder for the first 2 games. His Victor play absolutely incredible. Actually, first game, he was just farmed up on the internet. Second game, had an absolute blinder. He is one of your key player of the series votes at LEC on X, Yike, Vladi, and Caliste. Caliste had a great last game. Generally played okay across the series. I think his first game was pretty